October 22, 1944, Eastern Front near the ruins of Warsaw. Have you ever wondered what haunted the German soldiers more? Their enemies on the battlefield or the ghosts of their own orders echoing through the smoke-filled nights? As the bitter autumn wind swept across the shattered Polish landscape, the German Ninth Army braced itself against a Soviet onslaught that would test not just their courage but their sanity. The air was thick with the smell of gunpowder and decay. The once golden fields now nothing but a wasteland of corpses and charred metal. Inside the trenches, soldiers clutched their rifles not out of loyalty but out of terror. Not of dying but of what waited in the silence between battles. The night before the Soviet offensive, an eerie mist rolled in from the Vistula River, swallowing the horizon. Veterans whispered that the fog carried the voices of those who had perished in the earlier Warsaw uprising, German and Polish alike, their cries blending into a single mournful wail. When the attack began at dawn, the earth itself convulsed. Shells screamed overhead, tanks erupted in fireballs, and the ground shook so violently that some soldiers believed the world was splitting apart. In the chaos, Lieutenant Karl Dietrich led a small platoon into a deserted village believed to be used by Soviet scouts. But what they found chilled them to the bone. Walls smeared with blood, dinner tables still set as if the families had vanished mid-meal, and strange symbols carved into the floors of the basements. They radioed for support, but no answer came. Hours later, when reinforcements finally arrived, not a single man from Dietrich's platoon was found, only their weapons arranged neatly in a circle, and a single message scrawled in the dirt. Wir sehen euch im Dunkeln. We see you in the dark. That phrase spread through the ranks like wildfire, and even hardened SS officers refused to enter the village again. As the battle raged, soldiers reported hearing whispers through their radios long after transmissions ended, voices speaking in languages no one recognized. Engineers later discovered underground tunnels beneath several positions, makeshift bunkers where desperate men had taken shelter, leaving behind diaries filled with trembling handwriting. One diary described how soldiers began waking up in the night screaming that they had seen figures moving between the trees, figures wearing German uniforms, but with faces blackened by soot and eyes that glowed faintly. Red Hot historians later uncovered declassified reports hinting at something far more sinister: secret Nazi experiments aimed at harnessing fear itself as a weapon. It's said that in abandoned research facilities near Pomerania, captured soldiers and civilians were subjected to psychological torture, sound-based experiments, and exposure to hallucinogenic gases designed to break the human mind. Some researchers claimed success, that the victims began to see beyond death. But those same researchers vanished before the war's end, their documents burned, their names erased. Could what the German soldiers saw on the Eastern Front have been the side effects of these twisted tests? Or was it something older? A darkness that the war merely awakened? By the winter of 1944, morale had collapsed. Entire divisions went missing in the frozen forests. Their equipment found abandoned, fires still burning, as if the men had simply walked into the mist. Survivors who stumbled back told stories no one believed, of ghostly battalions marching silently through the snow, of a spectral commander giving orders in the distance, of corpses that vanished before dawn. Even Soviet troops advancing westward later reported similar sightings, shapes in the fog, whispers on the wind, and the overwhelming feeling of being watched. One Soviet war diary recovered decades later contained a single line that still sends chills through historians. The Germans are dead, but they are still fighting. After Germany's surrender, Allied investigators uncovered sealed tunnels under the ruins of Warsaw, containing strange artifacts, unmarked crates, melted machinery, and symbols resembling ancient runes etched into steel plates. What those tunnels were used for remains classified to this day. Some claim it was a last-ditch weapons lab. Others insist it was something spiritual, an attempt to commune with the power beyond fear. Whatever the truth, those who entered the tunnels never forgot the cold that clung to them afterward, as if the war itself refused to die. And even now, decades later, as historians pore over old maps and soldiers' letters, one question keeps resurfacing. A question that turns every battlefield story into something far more haunting. Were the German soldiers victims of their own madness? Or did they stumble onto a truth humanity was never meant to see? What really happened in those woods on that freezing October night? And what secrets did those soldiers carry with them into the silence of history?